The blizzard screamed across the valley, erasing every trail, yet a lone boy staggered through the white fury, dragging his twins behind him, and when the rancher found them half frozen in the drifting snow, he swore that whoever had driven them into the storm would face a reckoning the whole valley would never forget. The wind tore at the open fields, hurling sheets of snow that wiped out every familiar shape, leaving only shifting whiteness and the distant cry of the storm itself. But still the boy pushed forward, small boots sinking with each step, his numb fingers gripping the rope tied around the sled where his two younger siblings lay wrapped in thin blankets. His breath came in sharp bursts of ice, each one hurting worse than the last, yet he whispered to the twins again and again, promising that he would not stop no matter how the storm fought him. The twins did not answer, their faces pale beneath layers of frost, but their faint breathing kept him moving even as the cold clawed deeper into his bones. He looked back once, seeing nothing but a wall of swirling snow erasing the farmhouse he had escaped, and he bit down fear before pulling again, willing his legs to keep going. The storm grew stronger, hammering the valley like a living beast, and the boy stumbled, falling to his knees, but he forced himself up, dragging the sled inch by painful inch. Far across the grazing lands the rancher rode against the storm, wrapped in heavy coats, his horse pushing through the drifts with stubborn strength as he searched for missing cattle driven off by the sudden blizzard. He paused, often sensing something wrong, something heavier than the weather itself, and on one such pause he heard a faint scraping sound carried by the wind. He turned his horse and pressed forward until a small shape appeared in the storm, stumbling, collapsing, rising again, and the rancher felt his heart drop. He rode hard, sliding from the saddle and lifting the boy before he fell again, shouting over the roar of the wind, asking where he had come from and why he was out here. The boy pointed weakly to the sled barely visible beneath the snow, and the rancher saw the twins lying motionless, their tiny bodies wrapped tight, their lips tinted with cold. Without hesitation the rancher scooped the twins into his coat and he watched as warmth slowly seeped back into their pale faces, and only when he was sure they were breathing steady did he turn to the boy for answers. The boy trembled, recounting how someone had stormed into their home, shouting and furious, forcing them out into the night and locking the doors behind them, leaving them no shelter from the rising storm. The rancher listened, jaw tight, rage building with each word as he pictured 3 children thrown into blinding snow, left to freeze in the darkness. He rose slowly, his voice low but fierce, promising the boy that no one would harm them again and that whoever had cast them out would answer for it. Outside the storm screamed across the valley, but inside the ranch house a deeper storm was forming, one fueled by a man who did not look away from injustice and who would cross the frozen plains with fire in his heart. The boy watched him go, eyes still wide with fear yet filled with hope for the first time since the wind began to howl. The rancher stepped into the storm, coat whipping behind him, and he set out toward the farmhouse where the wrong had begun, each step carving a path through snow that could not bury his resolve. His boots sank deep, yet he walked with a purpose that made the storm itself seem smaller, for he carried the weight of 3 lives and the fury of a man who refused to let cruelty pass. The valley lay silent except for the howl of wind and the crunch of snow under his determined strides, and somewhere ahead the one who had cast the children out waited, unaware that a reckoning was coming, carried by a rancher who had nothing left in him but truth, justice, and an unbreakable vow. He moved forward through the white darkness, certain that the dawn would find him standing before the guilty, and that the valley would remember forever the day a man rose to fight for children who had no one else. And as the storm raged above the land, the rancher's steps continued unbroken, steady and filled with fire,